Hi everyone, welcome to Quarantine Parenting. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being with me. I'm like filled with energy right now. Yeah, it's Easter for us and we're celebrating, so I've got my Easter outfit on. Super impressed with myself. Quarantine Easter it is. So with all this energy, I just wanted to show up and be here for you today. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Dr. Courtney Pegram. I know, it's super hard to take me seriously with this hat. So I typically refer myself as just Courtney. But I'm an educational consultant and I do a ton of work in schools and corporate. And I wanted to do these daily videos, these scrappy, unedited videos, to be there for you and with you. So this week now we're Sunday, so it'll be a new topic, but I wanted to close off our different segments on loneliness and isolation. So my daughter's been struggling a lot with loneliness, and I spent most of last week talking about what we can do for ourselves and then some ideas to help friends. But what about our kids? What do? Right? Do we acknowledge they're lonely? Do we talk about it? What can you do? And then cognitively, how much are they understanding, grasping, and can they manage their emotions? So I really want to focus on this and share what I've done to help my daughter, and then give ideas for little older kids and then teens and tweens, because everyone's different. So as I said, if at any point in time you feel I am judging or I'm criticizing, shut me off. Don't create that space for you, right? This is a non-judgment zone, so I'm only giving you ideas. And some ideas work amazing and some are just like, do not work. So take what you need, and whatever you don't need, just let it go. Okay, so my daughter came to me yesterday and she was very lonely, but she wasn't like, Mom, I'm lonely. She's 7, so she was acting weird. She was a little whiny, complaining, and then she was like, I just don't understand why I can't see my cousins. So my daughter is obsessed with her cousins. She loves them, she adores them. They're like siblings for her. They're always at each other's house. They've grown up together, and so from my sister-in-law to my sister's kids, they're like all inseparable, and they actually all hang out too. So for her, that's her family too, and so she doesn't understand why she can't spend time with them. So that was like kind of that trigger statement. So initially when your children open up, you're looking for the trigger statement to give you the opening. So I said, oh, well, tell me more about the cousins, like what's going on? She's like, well, I don't understand why I can't be with them at Easter. Why, can we see them tomorrow? So I could sense confusion. I could sense there was a little anxiety, and I could sense that she was getting frustrated. So obviously, me doing this work for years, I can pick up on emotions pretty quickly. But also, she's my kid. So every parent knows their kid, so start to pick up on the emotions. So once you've identified the emotions, you want to move into an active listening role so that you can help your child better understand what they're saying by sharing back the emotions, the stories, the ideas. So why this is super important is sometimes they might not understand what they're feeling, so we don't want to put the emotions onto them without kind of exploring a little more. So I said, tell me more about what's going on and how you're feeling. And then she said, it just doesn't feel good, Mom. I don't feel good. So for younger kids, the emotions will come out in their bodies, right? Their actions, and they might not know the words to put to it. Whereas they go, honey, tell me how it feels. Well, when I think about it, it's like something sitting on my tummy. Okay, so tummy, so we're working on the body parts, okay? She meant more her chest. So was it your chest? Was it your tummy? Well, maybe more like my chest. And I said, does it feel like it's sinking? She goes, yes. So what I'm doing is, after I've actively listened, we went through the story, I'm trying to identify the different behaviors or sensation that she's feeling with these emotions. So she has a sinking feeling in her chest and it's getting heavy. Okay, so we explore that. So now the third part is to try to identify what are some things that make you feel lonely. So after we went through the behaviors, I talked about, when I feel like that, I'm lonely. Do you think you're lonely? Okay. So I instead of having just a pure open-ended question for my daughter because she's younger, I created a safe closed question. So it's, do you feel like you're lonely? Yes or no? That gives her more guidance and structure. So for older kids, you can say like, well, when you feel those sensations, what do you think it is? What feelings are coming up for you? So that's the difference. So younger kids, you want to guide them a little more in your discussion. And for older children, you want to open it up so they explore. So we've got all the information, collected the data from our kids, like what's going on, what's causing this. Then we actively listen. We explored how the emotion is feeling, acting out, and what's going on. And then we identified the emotion. So for my daughter, it was loneliness, okay? And with the loneliness was sadness. She felt sad. So we talked about, well, tell me what makes you lonely, and then let them talk about it. Do not interrupt. They might go on it for a little while, and just actively listen. Now, I also want you to work on being patient with them because it could take them a while to formulate ideas, stories of what they miss. So what I do is I definitely put my phone away. I turn it over. I am not looking at anything. I am focused on them. The more laser focus you get on your child when they're speaking, the more confidence they have on opening up and saying stuff. So laser focus does not mean complete staring, but it means you are the most important thing right now, and I am here with you in this moment. So then after giving them the focus, and they've explained how they felt, what makes them lonely, then have them share stories of a time where what they were talking about that they missed, so friends, activities, things they were doing. Now have them share a story about like a fun time that they were experiencing that. So my daughter, in the moment of loneliness, she talked, I miss my cousins. I miss them so much. I miss them playing with me. I'm so lonely. I don't understand. So then I shifted. I said, okay, well, what do you love doing with your cousins? What is some fun things that when you think about them, you remember? So my daughter was playing in the rain with my cousins, going to Great Wolf Lodge, and that story became a 10-minute full-on detail of everything they did at Great Wolf Lodge. So I get, again, laser focus on what she's sharing, and I could see the joy in her speech, her eyes, in her body. Things were shifting. So the sunken feeling was being lifted, and joy was coming in. So then we talked about it, and she was so happy, and then she showed me all the things that she had gotten from Great Wolf Lodge, and then what she loved about it, and the funny things, and then she went into more stories about what her cousins do that are funny, and how they make her laugh, how she makes them laugh, and we spent a good 5-10 minutes of just exploring that. And if you can go longer, it creates more connection with your kids. Then the final shift that's important to make is the most critical one. So now we talked about it, we explored it, we sat with it, we felt it. Then we moved on to joyous moments, memories, and now you need to solidify with an action step. So, and this is just the way I do it. So the reason I do the action step is it solidifies those memories. So it's like, well, what can we do right now? I know you're lonely and you're sad, and we just talked about all these things that make you happy, but what can we do right now? She's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe we could FaceTime them. I was like, that's a great idea. Yeah, let's FaceTime them. So I made sure that my sister was available, text her, and then they FaceTime. And that FaceTime was maybe like 30 or 45 minutes. And they really got to enjoy each other. So what happened is, because she was thinking about all the things she's appreciating about her cousins, then when she was on the phone FaceTiming her cousins, she really was in the moment. And that really lifted her loneliness. It might only last for a few hours, but at least we're lifting, right? So they're not just piling on the negative emotions. And I think that's really important. So I want to leave you with that tool. So I'm going to recap the steps. I wrote it in my journal because I did the activity myself, and then I wanted to write it out so I could recap. So I'm going to read you the notes, and this is how you're going to do it. So 1, you walk through the present behavior. So what is going on? Tell me how you're feeling, how you're acting. What are some thoughts that are going through? Like, get as much detail on the behavior. And then you want to use your active listening skills. So just like for us, there's no room for judgment, you take the judgment, right? Don't think about yourself, just be with your child. Listen to them. Do not recommend, add in, or interrupt. Just listen. To use active listening, you can repeat just a few of the words they're sharing to get them more engaged and so that they know you're listening. So active listening is super important. Then you want to ask them to help identify the emotions that they're feeling from their story. Okay? So what do you think you're feeling? What are some things? Well, I don't know, Mom. What do you think I'm feeling? They could react like that. Then you say, okay, well, how does it feel like in your body? Like, is it tense? Like, where do you feel it in your body? And then they'll explore that. So it's helping them understand, like, what does it feel like? And once you identify what it feels like in your body, then you're trying to connect the feeling in your body to the emotion, the word, the definition. How does it feel? What happens when I feel this emotion? So, like I said, my daughter felt the sunken feeling, and she really made tears come down, and so she went through the whole spectrum. And then I was like, well, you know, when I feel like that for me is loneliness. So because of the younger age and the description she was giving me, it defined loneliness. So then I said, okay, so when I feel these things, it's because I'm lonely. So then we agreed on the emotions, and there might be different emotions. So sadness, anxiety, hopeless. So with that, you want to play it out and take some time exploring in that area, because that's your emotional literacy. I wish I could say that word better. Emotional literacy. And you want to pull from that bucket and start connecting the dots of how are you behaving? How does it feel in your body? What are your thoughts going through your mind? Because that's the emotion, and that is all connected. So then after that, you're going to talk about what they miss and what is not the lack. So what are they missing? Their friends, the social interaction, and how that brought up the loneliness. So I miss this, and this because, and then I feel lonely. So you're creating a stream of thought, so they're associating that to loneliness. Okay, so that's a way to process everything. Okay, so then this is the shift. Really let them talk and ask questions, reflect and listen. So ask open-ended questions for that part, reflect on what they're saying, and then really listen to them. So that's like when you're closing off the whole processing, and that's the shifting point, so they feel like really understood. You're moving on to the next one. So now identify one small thing that could help them. So one small thing. So it could be FaceTiming, writing them a letter, sharing more stories about them, looking at old pictures or videos of them, or looking at more old video. Maybe it's a sport they're missing, right? Of a team, watching videos of that sport, right? Reaching out to the team, creating maybe a virtual party for your child with the team. Be creative. We talked about creativity really helps for eliminating isolation and loneliness. So one small thing, just one action step. You don't need a ton, just one thing. So if your child is younger, sometimes prompting is better because they might be like, well, I don't know. They're in the process of learning. If your child is older, it's exploratory. Well, what is one thing that make you feel better? And they might say things that right in this moment are impossible, but use that and then keep digging. Well, you can't go see your friend, but what could you do? Well, I could play a video game with them. I could call them. I could FaceTime them. So that's what you want to do. One small item. And then have them act on that item almost immediately, so that it's going through the whole process of like, I talked about what I missed about them, then I found the moments of joy with them, and now I get to act on it. So this whole process can take from 15 minutes to 45 minutes. But the idea is to really go through the emotion, the feelings, the behaviors, what can they do, good memories, and then action item, right? And then you solidify yourself, you give yourself a thumbs up, because you just went through really helping them pass through loneliness. And we are here for them, and we do have to address it. So when you see that opportunity, jump on it, because it was really good when I did it with my daughter. I felt extremely connected, loved, and I think it helped me a little more than it helped her. So thanks for joining me today. I hope that if you are celebrating Easter, you are enjoying yourself. We're about to skedaddle and drop up some Easter eggs. We're creating for the cousins. The idea we did have is creating little Easter baskets and just dropping and going. So thanks for being with me. Thanks for listening to me. I hope this was helpful, and I am here for you. Reach out if you need anything. I am here to support you, and I am so grateful for you. Thank you. Bye.